Lacrosse fans, and welcome to this week's LaxWrap. Chief there, Chopper here. We're going to start you off with the top 10 teams. And Hefe, before we go to the top 10, we will be remiss if there's 3 or 4 teams we didn't mention as bubble teams, right?
Right. You know, you look at a team like Crespi, who hasn't won yet, but they're a solid team and they'll continue to get better. They played hard against Loyola. You have a Sierra Canyon team who beat Crespi, who I don't know enough about, but I know that they're playing good lacrosse. And obviously you have Palisades and Brentwood, both teams that are very capable. Palisades undefeated, Brentwood 5-1. So there's, 5 teams who deserve mentioning.
And 1 or 2 of those teams are going to get into the playoffs and make some noise, and that way you heard it here first on LaxWrap, so we called them out. Now let's get to that top 10. It's kind of bunched up there at the number 10 spot. You've got Chaminade.
Chaminade, they still have the heart of their schedule left, so we'll see what they're really about. And to backtrack on scheduling, it's tough to schedule certain teams. So some people may say it's a soft schedule here or there, but scheduling's a difficult animal. We're all just calling each other, trying to get free games. So, it's not their fault. Their schedule's not so hard. It'll reveal itself once they move on.
But I've noticed that for most of these top 10 teams, they're playing each other. In years ago, 9 years ago, when you were coaching at PV, 3 out of 4 games were pretty easy games just because those programs hadn't developed. Nowadays, well, we'll talk about some of the competition. In fact, let's go to Peninsula at number 9. You guys played Agura this week, right?
Peninsula at 9, and I like where we're at. We just need to learn how to play for 48 minutes. We play good lacrosse for 22 minutes, so everyone needs to show up consistently, and that's the key.
Looking at the film, it looks like you guys, your top 10 guys are great. Depth is an issue. Are you developing that next group of guys?
Right. The next level is working. We're kind of gassed. It's not an excuse. It's just reality. So we'll see if they develop as the season goes on.
Okay. My Mustangs are slipping a little bit. So we got Costa in at the number 8 spot, right?
Costa's not getting much love, but they also don't have their top 2 middies. Those kids should be back in the next week or 2. I think it'll be a totally different team with those 2 middies who are top middies.
We're going to go to number 7. You brought Newberry Park into the top 10 a week ago, and now they're making noise, right?
Yeah, they're 5-0. They haven't lost yet, but once again, they haven't played anybody. But they'll go through, a tough schedule with Westlake and TO. So we'll see their true colors once they go. But right now, they're at 7 and comfortable.
Okay, so then coming in at number 6, the aforementioned TO, Thousand Oaks, man, they're playing a brutal schedule, right?
Right. They play everybody. They went down to PV today, lost by a bunch. But, I think they're still trying to find their identity in a new coach. They still have a ton of players. They're good. They're worthy of 6 right now.
And then your boy Pythagoras could enter in here because, PV beats TO, Westlake beats PV. For all we know, Costa could be number 1 if we use that theory, right?
That's right. Let's just go what we have right now. TO sitting at 6, happily.
Coming in at number 5, Agura. This team interests me. Yeah, they're playing a good schedule as well. You guys saw them firsthand. What do you make of these guys?
Right, they're climbing the ranks. They lost in overtime to Harvard Westlake. I thought they were in that game. If not, we'll just say that they were in that game. Their defense is relentless. They're all over the place. And offensively, they're capable. They've yet to have their midi leave bar play, and that kid's a difference maker. So once they get him back, they have a great goalie. They're good at the face-off X. I think that team will keep climbing.
Lax Power is showing a lot of love to our number 4 team, Harvard Westlake. They've earned it, right? I mean, they're playing well.
Yeah, man. Coach Crum has them going. Those guys play very good lacrosse, as I've mentioned before. Phil Thompson at the face-off X, also scoring 3 goals last game. That's a tough team. They just beat Westlake, which is an impressive W. But not enough meat on their schedule yet to move them up. So I think they're happy at number 4. They're climbing.
Based on years past, they're probably happy to be idling just out of the spotlight there. They can make their move later in the year.
Oh, I think they would like to be in the spotlight. I think Harvard Westlake likes the spotlight. They like to be talked about. So
yeah, they do a little bit of talking themselves too, right?
That's right.
They earn it though. Okay, we get to our top 3 again, and it's always a shuffle. There is logic to say that Westlake should be number 1 after knocking off PV. You've got them at number 3.
I have them in number 3. They lost to Harvard Westlake, but don't be too misled by that loss. That was the third game in a week, and that's tough after playing PV. I forget who else they played, and then they beat Harvard, and then they lost to Harvard Westlake, right? So Westlake has a ton of athletes. Those guys are good. Anchored on the defense, James Sullivan and Matt Kokari as goalie, Brett Riley as an attackman. Those guys are good. Our producer has them as number 1 and says they're going to win it all. I have them at number 3, and that's just because their body of work right now.
And I imagine they're happy with that. Again, they've been around before. They know that they don't have to be number 1 right off the bat. And Hefe, they got those unis. I'm telling you, that's worth a goal or two a game in my book.
Clean for sure.
Okay, and by the way, our producer, Mark Haddad, has already gone on record 2 weeks into the season. He's picking Westlake to win it all, and he's offering up a steak dinner to anybody who will oppose him. We're going to oppose him. We just haven't figured out which horse we're going to ride into that derby, right?
That's right. Pretty clear of who I'm riding. Who do you got there?
Well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to take advantage and just wait. He's declared. I'm going to wait. It could end up being Newbury Park for all we know. Okay, now top 2 again. A little bit of controversy here. PV loses its first 2 games, granted, to good teams, right. Westlake and St. Margaret's. Right. Just beat Thousand Oaks today and look good doing it.
Yeah.
You've got PV at number 2.
They're at number 2 for the mere fact that I have Loyola at number 1. PV lost to Westlake. They didn't have their 2 best players, Jared Jones and PD Hinkhouse. I believe 2 of the best players in LA. Now, I'm a firm believer you are on who you are that day, but at the same time, I just know how much depth PV has, so I don't think that they should be punished for not having their guys out there. I think a 2 spot is where they belong today.
Sure. So you can rationalize the loss, the 23 turnovers to Westlake, but you're not saying that makes them better, because they would still have to put those players on the field and beat Westlake, which they have to prove they can do.
Right. So I think I had a 2 spot right now, and that's because I have Loyola at the 1 spot.
And let's talk a little bit about Loyola. You talked before the season that these guys just seem to always regenerate. They're always right near the top. They play a good schedule. They approach the game in a business-like fashion. Don't mind chatting a little bit outside of the game. They're the number 1 team.
They're the number 1 team. They're hyped. They're good. They share the ball. I was surprised 10-3 or 11-3 to Foothill last weekend. Foothill must be darn good, because I believe that Loyola is real deal, like nationally, not just in LA. Loyola is of level for sure.
By the way, just would you pick Foothill as the number 1 team in Orange County, or are there others down there that you might be better?
Those guys obviously are pretty darn good. I would have them as number 1 right now, and definitely a top 5 team in the West. Shoot, I have them in top 10 team in the nation, truthfully.
Okay.
So no harm in that loss, but 10-3. Not sure what's going on there, Cubs.
That's a big loss. Okay, so Strider, this is Strider's portion of the show, and Strider is a little bit angry at me because he picked Loyola the first week and an honest throwing out the balls. Strider would be the first one to tell you, if he could talk, that he doesn't dress himself. So last week when he was in the PV jersey, that was a little bit of a put on, right? He says, in fact, he said, feed me whatever you want to feed me and I'll wear whatever you want. This week, I got a shot of Strider, and Strider is at the computer, and you may wonder, why do you guys defer to Strider? Watches a lot of film.
Yeah.
Strider sees videos on all these teams, and in this case, Strider's been looking at the film. Of course, dogs can't talk. He can keyboard, though, by the way, and he printed out his pick, and as you can see, he's got Loyola. And he basically, was kind of ignoring his doggy treats today, saying, look, I haven't varied from, he has wanted Loyola all 3 weeks. Right. I kind of put him in the PV jersey a week ago. So.
Right, so Strider is making it known. He's definitely riding the Loyola bandwagon. I kind of trust him. He watches enough film.
He does. And, people wonder, well, why don't we see him at games? The guy, he watches a lot of film. He doesn't like being on a leash, so at the games it doesn't, but he is informed and he is picking Loyola. That's his number 1 team for this week.
Well, Strider and I agree again.
All right, so that's our top 10 teams for the week. We'll be right back with the top 10 plays. To tee up those top 10 plays of the week, and Hefe, we're loaded this week, right?
It's a good week. Kids balling out.
Let's not waste any time. Let's get to number 10 right now.
Long stick from El Segundo. Kid's got wheels. That's not fast forward, but that's a shake right there. And a slip.
And money. That's your long pole doing it all right there.
That's right, soaring like an eagle.
Okay, in at number 9.
Sierra Canyon.
And you gotta love where he puts this one. We've got a great angle there. That is absolute top shelf left, and you know what sits up there. That's
Wow.
some peanut butter right there.
Peanut butter, top corner, Sierra Canyon.
And coming in at number 8.
7 overtimes.
That's just high cheese right there.
Wow.
And the winner.
Okay.
The most composed kid is the kid that shot it there. Number 7, on the run.
This kid takes flight and no go. Connor Jungawad, stuffed.
And Connor is not particularly overwhelmed by it. He's like, get on down, let's go.
Next play, please.
Yes.
Really letting it run.
Number 6. Does this look familiar?
Yeah, thanks. I'll just take that from you.
My question is, if you let a guy get up on it, don't you got to go by him if a guy comes by?
Oh man, I don't even want to watch this again. But this little kid's tough. Not only did he take the ball, he ran through 3, 4, and 5 guys.
Sweet work by the D-Midi. Coming in at number 5.
Agora all over the place, but this is Phil Thompson.
That's filthy Thompson.
Filthy.
That is wicked.
Nicely done, Mac Truck. Yep.
3 goals that game, right?
That's I don't know that game.
Okay. Number 4.
This Crespi versus Westlake. Take what you got. Connor Pierce.
It seems like top left is the place to go this week,
These
right?
kids are good, man.
Coming in at number 3.
This is Westlake again, a spin. That's a great save by John Gawad. PV ground ball. That's what they like to do, run.
So you talk about a 2-goal turnaround. There's the one they didn't get, and then the one that's converted on this end.
That was it. That was 5 passes.
Big play by the goalie. They're coming in at number 2. Let's keep an eye on the goalie.
Kilkari, I like this kid. I've worked with him a couple times. Thank you. It's what you do outside the cage. Gets you to the next level, and the kid can obviously pick off passes and assists.
Give him an assist here. There's your dive.
Nicely done.
Finally, coming in at number 1.
This is sweet. Brett Riley, Shane Sharp, D1 matchup. Kid playing great D.
Woo! Top shelf left.
Dang, and a BTB. Definitely touched the ground. You're the man, Brett Riley. Well done.
We'll take a look at a couple of other plays, and I want to mention something right now. You know, this is not film of PV, but Jared Jones is off to a great start for PV, even though he didn't play in that one game. Jared Jones got his highlight video at LaxWrap, and my question, Hefe, is chicken or egg? Was it the highlight video that got him the exposure for the college, or was it the plays he was making that caught the video?
Well, you can't do one without the other, right? So if you got to make plays, you got to capture the plays, and then send those plays for the coaches to see. So LaxWrap in conjunction, Jared Jones making it happen.
So the message there is twofold. Number 1, we need your video. We've got video of most of these games. We've got shooters all over, but if you've got plays, send them to us. And if we've got plays, come to us. We can get you that highlight video, and who knows, maybe you're sitting on the next Jared Jones. So that's it for this week's top 10 plays and then some. Before we get out of here, Hefe, a couple of key games this week. One of those is you guys playing Crespi. Is that a trap game?
That's a trap game. It's on Thursday, St. Patty's Day against the Irish Catholic School, which is a program who was in the finals last year. I got to make sure my kids are ready to play and not the luck of the Irish.
Well, we'll have to take a look. We'll be back with the results of that as well as all the other games this week. But that's going to do it for this week's LaxWrap. For the Chief, Lane Jaffe, this is the Chopper, Drew Rogers saying thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.